guys to my channel and everyday life with Aspie. If you're new to my channel, I'm Aspie and I welcome you all with open arms. I'm all about creating mental health and awareness. This is sharing you all my life stories and experiences with Asperger's syndrome, OCD and the like, so that you can get a lowdown to know me and the different race of diagnoses that I share about. I also share about some, tips and advice versus also just like, shall we say, motivational kind of messages, hopefully to give you guys a message of hope for the ones that are personally struggling or whatever personal struggles that you go through, and hopefully some of those will come of value and use to you. Bear in mind though, just to put a disclaimer to some of these videos right now, I am not a professional doctor or anything like that. I'm just a normal everyday Joe blogs going through my everyday life journey with Asperger's syndrome and the like, just to take you all on what it's like for me, and hopefully that you gain a better understanding of me as a person, and that some of the tips and advice may have been of use to me when I was, shared upon, or what may work for me may work for you or not. It's just a matter of just keep trying or seeking professional help or seeking opinion, regardless what it may be. So if you're new to my channel at the moment and you just landed today, basically what I'm trying to do, if you haven't followed me on Twitter or Facebook as well maybe, is that I'm trying to finish up the ADHD and series versus the Dyslexia series in the playlistings of the ADHD and Dyslexia playlist, so that hopefully I can tidy it all up before I can hopefully continue on to what I hope to share with you all. And then later date too, I'm going to give you guys another heads up to what's happening with my book, of what's going on, so that you can know what's going on. It's all about connecting with you guys obviously, and letting you know if any of you are interested of the book, or of someone that is. So hopefully you've been trying to share that link around with the latest one, at least for now. So enough for the ado. I'm going to be talking today hopefully a few dyslexia theories, so hopefully that you can actually know more about dyslexia and people who are dyslexic, to support them one way or another. Even though some of these may be repetitive or not, I humbly apologise if they are in advance, and that some of it may sound repetitive because obviously some of the tips and advice that I've given obviously will relate to some of these other disorders that I share, regardless what it is. Here's an example for today's one, dyslexia. So this one's going to be called Overcoming Dyslexia and finding your own passions again of what you may have lost. So as you know, that anyone that struggles with dyslexia or just any disorder, be it learning disability or what have you, at any age or stage in their life, they may feel as if they are a burden to others despite all of this of what they feel, maybe due to the lack of self-esteem, low self-esteem, lack of understanding from one another, lack of meeting our needs, regardless what it may be, sort of thing. And that's where hopefully I come in with some tips and advice along the way, that hopefully we can learn from one another and relate to one another in one way or another of what goes down, regardless what it may be. You see, basically, as I shared before, if you've been following me from the word let go, or if not, I recommend that you should go into the one of my part of the misdiagnosis of my life story. Basically, I shared briefly in there about, how I was misdiagnosed, and that they felt that before it came to that conclusion point, standard point of me having Asperger's syndrome and all the other symptoms that comes with it, that they thought at first maybe I was clinically diagnosed as ADD, ADHD and dyslexic at the same time. But then again, I find that, with my strengths that I have, that I'll try to put it into practice of what I can do for myself and others around me. I know for a fact that when it comes down to, not being diagnosed, it can be really, really hard to actually find the right help, or it can be embarrassing just to, sitting behind class, trying to be unnoticed and whatnot, when you are personally struggling in your schoolwork or something at work. Basically, you just do your darn hardest just to hide from that shame and embarrassment for not letting others know about, what you are about it. But hopefully when we come to an understanding and learning from one another, basically about people, especially with dyslexia here today, what I'm sharing, that we can obviously learn to live with dyslexia in the best way possible. Okay, sometimes also the shame and embarrassment from it all though, however, when it comes down to knowing that we have dyslexia or what have you, whatever other learning disability or shall we say learning disorders we have, basically can tend to, really make us shy away and actually hide away, and even those, especially with dyslexics, they try to keep up with their learning regardless what it may be and try to focus on the task at hand as well as their learning, as well as trying to fit it in. Can be an everyday challenge for them, obviously. It's no brainer because obviously, everyone is different and their scale of, how they go about in their everyday life, regardless of the mental health disorder versus just a, learning disorder or what have you. So, yeah. I'm going to hopefully give out some tips and advice and some form of encouragement in this video right now. So hopefully some of this will basically be of use to you or someone you know, or just what have you, spread it around so that we can learn from it. But anyway, tip number 1, practice to your heart's content of learning to read and write. Okay, as we know, basically that's easier said than done, but as we know, technology is increasing, as I said before, and that a majority of the time though, however, with this technology evolving into certain softwares that can be of help to people with different needs, like there are some software available for people that are trying to, learn to read and write, be it like, audio reading software versus audio writing software, be it voice recognition versus just like maybe on our text messaging when we're trying to predict text, what we're trying to say. Sometimes some people might find that annoying for some people that are dyslexic. Some dyslexics I know, when I'm being actually, texting a few people or messaging a few people, they will shorten down the words into letters as well. If you say example, one they say to me is basically like, how are you today? They'll probably put the R as just R and then the word you as the letter U. Today, number 2, and the word day. Some of them will really abbreviate it down, even though some of it just call it shorthand, but then again, like many people may think it's just a lazy way out for some of the ones that are dyslexic that does this, but no, it's not. It's just accommodating to their needs, even if it means that they have to find a certain software or what have you to help them in their everyday needs. Okay, number 2, gain writing experience. What I mean here is basically, as you know, that's, dyslexics may read from left to right or right to left, depending on their mentality level and their brain set, even though their mindset is different, how they read and write and interpret the information that they may give. That's why it leads to so many, confusion, misunderstandings, and, disagreements between the peers that they're probably with at that time when they are trying to think. So what I mean here for gaining writing experience, sometimes, like for some dyslexics, I don't know, for me, when it comes down to trying to recall every information that was given to me or a set written instruction, basically what I do is I just write it over and over again with the help of a dictator phone that hooks up to my computer and actually play it back to me regardless, and then I'll just try to follow it hopefully through the sounds and the patterns of the voice of what it's saying. But then again, you gotta be in mind though, everyone's different, but also for that gaining writing experience, it's just a matter of keep practicing, writing and hopefully reading at the same time. Even though it may take a while to get there, regardless of their, their grades, but then again, it shouldn't hopefully matter, because obviously for dyslexics, they are arty, they are basically clever in their own right, they have their strengths to being arty, creative, and like there are a lot of famous people out there that are basically, dyslexic as well as other learning disabilities. Anyway, tip number 3 may go into with tip number 1, what I briefly shared, is to keep up to date with the new technology and interventions and application softwares that are readily available. As you know, as I said, technology is increasing. It's just all about, knowing about what's out there for us, and obviously when it comes down to updates, maybe like on our cell phone here, say if we've got certain software that helps us on the cell phone, to have that regularly updated so that we know what's going on and everything else in between. Number 4, know when is the right time to share with others that you have dyslexia. As I said before in my story of when to share or not to share about me with Asperger's syndrome, there is a right time and place. There is a time for people that are probably dyslexic that may need time just to, relate to themselves about what's going on around them and whatnot, and hopefully maybe regardless if they haven't told us about, them being dyslexic or what have you, that we can know the signs and symptoms of, or shall we say the causes and triggers as well of dyslexia, so that hopefully we can just help them in any way we can. But then again, we can't pressure the ones that are dyslexic to actually just straight outright say, that they have it, because obviously everyone's different, like I said. So it's about knowing when it's the right time for them and when they're comfortable in their own skin to actually share it, because obviously we can't always, like someone said to me, always assume that everything's okay, or that they're having a bad day or whatever, regardless what body language or body cue or what have you that they're giving out to us at the same time. But anyway, enough of that one. Tip number 5 I've got written down here is regaining a social confidence. Obviously, as I said, that sometimes with some people with learning disabilities and the like, that they feel like that they're knocked off for 6, after finding out that they tend to have some sort of difficulty in social interactions and whatnot. It's just a matter of weaning themselves back into the real world and obviously knowing, how to socialise, what to do in that point, because obviously if we just gently push them in the right direction to socialise, and that they shouldn't have to feel too nervous and whatnot. But then again, everyone's different, and then when it comes down to this, regaining their social confidence, it might take time for some of them, because many of the ones I've talked to of the dyslexics are shy about uncertain in themselves about if they should bring themselves back out there in the real world and whatnot. Tip number 6, learn your strengths. As I said before, everybody has their strengths and weaknesses of what they can and can't do. But obviously, as I said before, also remove the dis on the word disability and you have the word ability. Obviously, we have the ability to do things maybe more better than the ones that are able bodies, but then again, who am I to judge there? Because obviously, many people tend to, knock people down with the ones that are either disabled or just, have a learning disorder or something. But then again, when we know our strengths and stuff, we can use that for our vantage point and actually, maybe use that in our way of our everyday life, be it like maybe we could delegate some team members here, say, in some workforce, or we can basically be quick problem solvers, and that, we'll be able to just quick, smart, diffuse the situation before it actually even started, maybe in the way of, the problems that arises. Last but not least, tip number 7, since there's 7 tips I can think of right now, is never ever give up. What I mean here is obviously, we all have our bad days, good days, especially sometimes when some people have their bad days. No matter what goes on in our lives, we should be able just to face it and solve the problems at hand, and if that arises again and again, just to keep brushing ourselves off and keep trying, because you never know. Okay, so the little call of wisdom here, or encouragement to end this, is basically from me to you guys, is find what you love to do. Despite having dyslexia, it can become one of your real big strengths, regardless of the struggles that you may face, or anyone that will overcome these challenges that is caught in the way for ones that are facing these difficulties. If you put your heart and mind into it, obviously, you, like anything in life, you'll see that you will be able to, succeed, and basically with all that determination and everything, it will eventually pay off. What do you enjoy doing in life? As I said in one of my videos, remove the word dis and put the word ability in front of it. We all have the ability to do something, obviously. In our lives, we all have the ability maybe to adapt and to change from certain situations that life does throw at us, regardless, even though some of us may not like change because of the fear of the unknown, the fear of what's about to happen. Basically, sometimes they say the fear of the unknown and fear of uncertainties and all that can lead to bigger and better things if we're ready for that change, regardless what it may be. I believe that regardless of me, even though I struggle with this, time to time, about the, changes that goes on, regardless what it may be. Dyslexics are also wired differently, like many other people that are wired differently, as many of them are created through their thought patterns, their art, their writing, if they did, and all these other, bits and pieces of their creativity. But sometimes it's not always about their creativity. They could be good leaders, and they could be, the ones to talk to, as I said before, about basically solving problems or delegating, certain tasks to different team members in the workforce and whatnot. They can be a real good team leader. Challenge you all today, shall I say, is to find out what you really love and passionate about. Find out what you enjoy and have fun with it along the way, despite it all, at doing that situation, and pursue it. Regardless what you have in mind, you envision that you think you can't do it, remove that word can't and say I can do it. I am able. I can do anything, and my willpower is all about just me and my goals. No one won't forever stop me. I am the only one that can stop myself from doing what I wish to accomplish and achieve in life. Follow your harder dreams and dream big. Everyone has their own dreams, visions and whatnot of what they wish to accomplish and achieve in life. So it's a matter of, finding that passion, if it is in there, of that passion that we want to succeed and do. It doesn't have to be something big though, however, of what we want to achieve. It can be the little things in life that we want to achieve. For some people, like I noticed that they do struggle in their everyday forces of regardless what it may be, basically like of their personal struggles. Some of them I know that fully depressed find it really hard to get up in the mornings. So one of their features is that they see to me as their biggest accomplishment at the moment is just getting out of the bed in the morning and actually try and go outside and enjoy nature, even if they're not interacting with people, they're engaging with nature, be it walking and maybe onto the beach with the sand between their toes and the waves lapping at their feet is something that they've accomplished. Gotta remember, for you, we're all creators and writers in our lives. Basically, we're the author of our life, shall I say. As I said before, nothing or no one can stop you but you yourself, from what you love and are passionate about. You are the ones that will be obviously the ones that will put a stop to it, only you, for achieving and living those dreams and realities and visions that you have put in place. Believe in yourself. You are unique. You are your own label and brain. However, what you do with your label and brain is up to you, of how you want to bring yourself as a person. It's all about determination and perseverance, however, as well as with these every other day situations, and patience, along with being positive and being with the right people to support you, regardless what it may be, and that hopefully, regardless of where we are in this day and age, that we will be able to live life to the fullest. Even though I know that for a fact, what I'm learning now is not everyone will be able to support you or root you or uplift you of everything that goes on, because obviously everyone's journey is different. Some of them will be left behind, some of them probably will just decide to leave us, but when it gets too tough for them to stick with it through us and with us in our trying time, regardless what it may be. So that basically ends what I can think of right now of overcoming dyslexia, finding your passion. Leave a like for thumbs up for support and engagement. Comment below if I've missed anything. Feel free to comment below also, as I said, maybe to just give out some other tips and advice also as a challenge, maybe to actually maybe for the ones that are dyslexic, just to write down how you guys go about your day and actually see if it will be of any beneficial use to others on this channel. Feel free to also subscribe to my channel. Feel free to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, AspieAnswersAll. Till next time, thanks for watching. Do what you love what you do. Aspie signing out.